Greetings! In today's video, I want to take a quick look at one of these little travel palettes. So this is a very tiny one. It is mostly held together with magnets, and you also get a binder clip. The binder clip can be used either to just secure the palette together, or you could attach it to your sketchbook. For the video, I'm just gonna have it like this. What I decided to put in this little palette are Holbein colors, 8 of them. The wells are really tiny. They're not excessively deep, and they're not very big, so you won't be able to keep a lot of paint in there. You won't be able to put a big brush in one of these wells, but I was able to put in a sort of medium-sized brush, this one, and the tip, not the full brush, but I was able to pick up color with it. I used this ceramic palette. I didn't really think about it that much. Since I was making the color wheel, I was like, oh, I don't have enough space on this little mixing area for the color wheel, so I'm gonna have this ceramic palette, and then I just forgot about this mixing space. I will definitely try it, but I forgot about it for this little painting. I'm sorry. So I use that brush mostly for the base layer and putting colors, and then I use this semi-art portable painting brush that I use as a regular brush for the rest of the painting. A brush like this works perfectly fine with that size of well. I thought about it, and I figured that the colors I would put in this palette, since there's space for 8 colors, I would make it a very muted palette. I like my muted palettes. I think they're a lot of fun, and I looked through my Holbein stash of paints and I picked up these 8 colors. I also wanted to do this little color wheel to show what kind of colors you can get if you mix the yellow, the red, and the blue that's in this limited palette. It's really interesting in a way because you can get some greens that you won't get in the palette. You cannot mix these two, and you cannot really mix this Mars Violet color either. So I feel like my choice of color is, quite good. The indigo and the light red, they neutralize better than I would have thought. I got a very neutral gray when I mixed them, so in a way I might not even need the ivory black. But I like the texture of the ivory black, so... Is it a palette that I can conceive the idea of traveling with it, painting with it out there? Absolutely. I think it works out really fine. This one, you can secure it with the clip, but also since it's much smaller, the magnets are good at keeping it together, so you could hold it in your hand and paint with it. When it closes, it's also very secure. You have to pull some good strength to separate it. I think that's great. The clip, also kind of a brilliant and simple idea. And just to get some experience of the palette, I painted this little sketch with it. It worked out perfectly fine. Of course, like I said, I used this as a mixing area, but I mostly use this area. I didn't end up using a lot of mixing space. I will still try mixing with this, so let me set that up. Picking up some of the black, so you can see the brush fits kind of well enough in there. I hope it will be visible because it's a transparent palette, so it's a bit hard to... So this surface seems to be beading quite a lot. Beading is this action of a paint in a palette where it, you spread it out, but it comes back together into droplets instead of a spread out puddle. I still think that's serviceable, but most palettes, the more you use them, the better they get. Also, in a previous video, someone mentioned that for metal tins, you can use a layer of oxgall, liquid oxgall, that you put on the surface of the palette, and then you wipe it clean. You don't rinse it off, you just wipe it, and as a surfactant, it's supposed to help with the surface of the paint palette. If someone uses this palette a lot, I think the surface will become a lot more accepting of paint. It's really not the worst, but also not the best. I think that if you paint with it enough, it's going to get better. Does anyone need this palette? Probably not. Is it a good option for painting outdoors? I think so. I think it could work out really well. It's definitely easy to carry around and it doesn't take up a lot of space, so in that regard, it's really good. And as you're the one choosing what paints go in there, well, just choose your favorite paints from a brand that you love and your painting experience is going to be good. I would not use this set to paint really large paintings. I don't think that's a good idea, but for any kind of journaling or a small sketchbook work, I think it's perfect. So I hope this video gives you a bit more insight into this kind of palette, if it would be a good match for you or not, and if there's potential in there for you. I had a lot of fun painting with this one, and I'm quite happy with the colors I put in there. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you've tried one of these. I would love to read your thoughts. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go work on more videos. See ya in the next one. Bye bye.